4.
Holy shit, the spacing, that's gonna be interesting.
We're
Welcome
not
to
editing
the
it, it's
After
fine.
School Writers Podcast. We're gonna talk about writing and love life and stuff. We are missing a member, Fallen, who has, because of his education, decided to take a break. Gonna assume from
died.
y'all that anytime Fallen wants to come back on, he can come on, but he's got his studies, and frankly, he's been like, having trouble meeting with us because time zone differences anyways. So
Indeed.
I'm sure he'll be happy to like not have to wake up at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning to record with us.
Yeah, he's like mid eating a sandwich for lunch and having to record a podcast with us assholes, so.
Yeah, so Fallen is taking a break. Love you, Fallen. You're welcome back anytime.
Which
the meantime,
means that Darius is now the host.
Yeah, I'm
Yay!
stealing your fucking show. Get wrecked, son. I don't want to make this a cuckold thing.
There's other people on the podcast too. Who are you other people?
I mean, yeah, that's...
Fuck.
Yeah, let's go down the line. So, Lid, would you want to introduce yourself?
Me?
No.
Yeah.
Maybe Johnny first?
I was gonna make him last because he's the guest, right?
Oh, okay. Well,
Is this the best intro of all time?
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I'm here with you guys.
Yep,
Next,
as always. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. I forgot I didn't introduce myself. I'm Supreme. I'm still on this podcast too. And
all right. We've already mentioned him a little bit, but Johnny, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and I'm welcome to be here.
What's your AO3? Is it JohnnyMueller?
It is JohnnyMueller, yes.
Okay. How did you just do a little bit of an introduction to you? Me and you met through New Game. You commented on one of my stories, and you introduced me to the smut server, the Black Penguin, which is really cool.
Yep.
is that the lore behind that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a huge catalyst for me because at that point I had talked to who used to be the admin of the Idle Fanfic Hell server. Now she's just a moderator, right? Melly.
Melly, yeah.
Melly had approached me with the idea of a fan fiction server, and we were both members of Diacord, and it was just me and her posting, and I was like, I don't think that server's gonna work, right? Johnny comes along, shows me that there is an active server, not only an active fan fiction server, an active not safe for work only fan fiction server. So we're like layers deep into shit that I didn't think would happen, right? So yeah, that was the inspiration for me. Black Penguin was like what made me want to go back to Melly and be like, hey, I think we can do this.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Johnny was the origin of
he
IFH,
started
what
it
you're
all.
telling me.
Yeah, hey, can I ask, like, what made you reach out to me? What made you like invite me to the server?
Well, first off, I'm gonna say I don't remember that happening at all, but I'm gonna believe you when you say that.
You don't remember? I got the screenshot to back me up, dude.
I mean, I believe
I can tell you the exact quirk it was on. It was
I screenshots every one of his comments.
Yeah.
A folder.
Trying to think. I think because that would have been what, like 2019 or so.
Yeah, October 2019.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I think at that time I was, just trying to find, people to recruit for the Penguin, and just, I guess I must have just liked what you wrote, and I was like, hey, you want to...
At that point, Penguin was like really big.
Yeah, that's when we were happening. We haven't really done anything since 2019. We're just more of a server of our sort of just a like-minded server, but yeah.
Is Grand Leviathan still on there? I don't see them.
I don't think so. I haven't heard from them in a while. I mean, I know they still write stuff.
Damn, that sucks. I was reading a lot of their Genshin stuff. It's really good.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I remember that, and then you making Idle Fanfic Hell, and then me coming onto there, and then it's just been rolling since then.
Now,
what was the last fic you wrote? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Me or Dias?
No, you. Fuck
me?
Dias. I don't give a shit about him.
So the last fic I wrote is a love life one. It's a love life sunshine fic, and Dias made a comment on it. Although Dias is probably, I would say, my most regular commenter nowadays, but it's one where so I want to give the backstory for this fic first. It's called Bearing It All,
Hmm.
and the origin of this came from a SAO fanfic. In that fanfic, Yui wants to go nude, perform nudism, as a casual thing. And Kirito and Asuna are like, I'm not sure about this, but she, convinces them, and
This is
they
like
just,
a real thing that people do, by the way. There are nude
yeah,
beaches, and
oh
people will
yeah,
like not have sex at them. It's just like a
Shout out,
family
shout out to
thing.
France.
Shout out to
Yeah,
That's
France.
wild
fucking
Yeah.
overseas.
Yeah,
wild.
but yeah, and I was sort of reading that. I'm like, I've never thought of doing themes of casual nudity in fics before, but I was like, it's interesting. I think I can do something with this, and so I made this Love Life fic. It changed as I developed it, or as I wrote it. So basically, the idea of it is that it's in an alternate universe where Numazu is actually a successful rural town, particularly because they have this popular nudist beach that is basically like what the town is known for. It's well known
Ah,
across Japan. It has international tourists. It's basically it's a beach town. It's what keeps the town alive.
I
The
like
main
that idea.
Yeah, the main focus of it in the fic is on Riko. She is, like in the series, she's new to the town, and she is nervous about this kind of thing. But she talks with like the couple who owns it, and sort of like how they related to the town, and eventually she becomes more comfortable with it. It's a short story. It's only about, was
I,
it
I
1500?
would I would say I have to imagine with Japan they have those bathhouses, right? Casual
Yeah.
nudity is not a foreign concept to them, right?
No, yeah, no, definitely. It's just, yeah, the main difference is that this is very much so a yeah, it's more of a what we call a European style nude beach, where it's like, yeah, people are just walking around. Some of them might have more clothing on, but there is no like there's no sexual component to it. It's
Interesting.
just, yeah, just a peaceful
Because when
place.
because when you said nude beach, my first literal instance is
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Johnny writes smut fics. This is totally a smut fic.
Yeah, like
What's going
you're
For
on?
a
one,
big smut fic writer.
I mean, of the people that have been on this podcast, probably the only bigger one that I would say than me is Byron.
Byron for sure,
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was one where I'm just like, not for this one. There's obviously other ones that I've written that have.
Relating to that, so you used to do only smut fic, I remember. I don't know if like there was a period where you were writing, T-rated stuff, but
Mhm,
like pretty much everything I know from you is smut.
yeah.
But like recently, at least your last like 3 fics have been safe for work. What made you
Mm.
change?
I guess I don't know if I would necessarily change. Obviously, I've got a
Well,
work.
shift gears, I guess, in a
Yeah,
sense.
I will say I never imagined myself being a smut writer. I think that was something that just happened. People made requests for stuff to do it, and I found myself
Oh, you're gonna get a
enjoying
lot
it.
more requests of not safe for work, obviously.
Oh,
Yes,
trust
sir.
me. Yeah, but I guess I want to do other things. I have interest in doing stories that tackle, if not necessarily serious issues that are more serious in tone, as stories that, stories that focus more on sort of character
So there
development,
there was
or
never a moment where you were like, "Oh, I'm gonna change up my brand." It was just like, "Nah, I just want to do this."
yeah, I want to be a variety of things. Obviously, I want to write smut, and I enjoy doing that, but I also want to do work that is, if not necessarily family friendly, is at least has different interests in mind.
Hmm.
Interesting. You see, it's funny you say that actually, because I know when I started writing, I primarily started like almost the exact opposite of you, where I started writing smut, and that's all I wanted to do. But
Hmm.
I eventually was like, there's more to writing than just this, and now I almost never write smut, which is
Yeah,
like the polar opposite of what you said. So
yeah.
I feel you there.
And I mean, even within my smut, there is a variety of sort of modes. So like you have stuff that is definitely much more on the porn without plot kind of side, but you have stuff that is more emotional, that is much more meant on sort of the feelings between characters. So I think for me, something I find important about smut is that it can display a variety experiences, and that it is just as reflective of the human condition as any other sort of literature or media.
Mm,
I dig it.
I dig it.
So let's
Nice, nice.
let's move on to the first topic. A relatively recent change, and actually,
Yeah.
speaking of
Uh,
Black Penguin, Johnny, they were one of the worst when it came to this fucking shit.
yeah. So, if you're on AO3, you've probably seen the change that happened. They at least published it on August 24th, this year. Um, just a few weeks ago at the time we're recording this, and it's the change where you are not allowed to have more than 75 of fandom, character, relationship, and additional tags. Now, this doesn't apply to previously existing works, or at least it doesn't automatically delete those tags. Like if you have a work right now that has 100 or 200 tags or over 75 tags, nothing will change. It'll only change if you edit it,
Unfortunately,
yeah, or try to post a new chapter. They'll be like, you have to, and I'll actually tell you, like, you have this many tags, you need to delete this many tags in order to,
Okay.
yeah,
get to this.
the HTML architecture is kind of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it
I
It's
mean,
not
really
gonna, they're
is.
not gonna go over and spend the time to like look over old works. It's just
yeah,
the publishing aspect of it will limit it. But
yeah,
as far as changes go, for me, 10 out of 10 fucking change, because my god,
yeah.
one of the most annoying things was looking for your specific like ship that you were interested in or a tag you were interested in. And I mentioned Black Penguin not because like, I want to slight them. They're all really talented writers. But Black Penguin used to do these things called like the Black Penguin exhibition.
hmm
Um and this would be like often 30 chapters, 40 chapters, and you would have one chapter Love Live, like two chapters Fire Emblem, one chapter, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, and
Yeah,
so they tag
Ooh,
every single fandom.
Yeah, and so if you're
yeah,
that's
like,
so
I want to
annoying.
find,
Oh God, yeah.
female on female, such and such sex act, uh, Love Live, right? They would be the most in hits.
hmm
And so, I'm not saying it's like necessarily wrong to have that exist. It's really cool to see like tons and tons of people work together and be cooperative. But the issue is just like these are really difficult for someone to enjoy if you're looking for something specific, right? If you're not like
hmm
tuned into that community, if you don't know who all of the authors are or even half of the authors are, right? It can be really
Yeah.
difficult to enjoy that sort of
And
shotgun
AoE's
style.
search function is kind of already bad as it is.
hmm
So like it definitely didn't help when you just like typed in like like a series you wanted, and like the first thing that came up was like an anthology thing with like
yeah,
40 other fics combined into it.
Black Penguin is certainly not the worst
Oh,
of it
that's
as
so
well.
annoying.
There are several like one chapter fics that are like 1 out of 32 and they just have like 10 fucking ships tagged and it's the
Yeah.
most
yeah,
annoying thing.
Like
or
Lid
like,
knows the pain of like, oh yeah, let's just look up Yoriko for a sec. And then the top 5 postings are like, this is my compilation and this is Yoriko in my 40 tag monstrosity or whatever.
mhm. or
Yeah, it's
like,
like
or
one
like,
chapter, and here's all these others. Oh,
Yeah.
that's oh.
or like the crossovers that have like an obscene number of uh fandoms in it. Like the one that I always come across is the one that's something like marriage act rejection letters or something like that, and it's like some Harry Potter crossover fic, and it has like, oh god, 40 or 50 fandoms in it, and I'm like, why do you need this? This doesn't need to be one fic.
You can split
Crossovers
these up, man. Get the
are
extra
Yeah.
hits. Come
always
on.
really cool. It's just like a shame when it goes too far. One thing I will say is that these would usually not be as bad a problem if they had, and a lot of them do, if they have something like Drabble collection, Fic
hmm
collection, something like that, right? A
Yeah,
lot of
that's
them do,
fine.
a lot of them don't.
Yeah.
And I think that
And
really
then
exacerbates the
but
problem.
but here's the thing though. Here's the thing about that. I've learned to do this cuz I most recently made a Yoriko like shorts like compilation that I'm
Updated.
gonna update like further on down the line. And I saw Lid did this where Lid, you basically just named it like Yoriko shorts, and then you put the relationship as Yoriko, and the tags were just nothing. Like,
Yeah,
Mm.
and
I
then you describe
personally I
what the
like it like
tags
that.
are in the description, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
like
you
right
type out all
before
the
I
tags.
started. No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't type any of the. There's no tags, just Yo Rico, Yo Rico, and it's like that's it.
I've
Right
done
before you
that
start the
for
story, that's what it is.
Hmm.
I've done that for the most recent like Ficklets event we had, where I had just like but the tags on that were fucking weird ass shit like motivation and beer and stuff.
Yeah.
I also when I was a few days ago when I was thinking about it, I went to some of my fics, particularly multi-chapter ones. I feel like this isn't going to be an issue if you're like if this is like a one-shot fic and you have just like a few
Oh
things
yeah,
going on.
75 is fucking huge,
Oh,
right?
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you have like a multi-chapter fic, then like yeah, you have to be more selective. But what I'm also liking is that going through the process of choosing what tags to leave in and to take out, what I'm liking is that I in these in the when you have like you're looking at fics and you're looking at the tags, I can like I can put the tags are like these are things that appear in multiple chapters of the fic, and then I can go to the specific chapters and go to the notes and be like, okay, in this fic or in this chapter, these tags appear, and in the next chapter these tags appear. So it's like I can draw in people with like here are the specific things that'll be
Oh, is
occurring.
that true?
Yeah, it is like here are the things that will be recurring over and over. So if you're
I
really
think
interested in
I think
that,
something
here
you
you go.
touched
Oh,
on
that's
there, but you didn't
sick.
explicitly say was that like you wanted to narrow down the tags in your fic, and I think that's a
Yes.
really good idea. I think uh maybe less so with AO3 really, but like sometimes people can just like wanna like tag as much as they can, right? Which
Yeah.
is very natural, right? You have your story, you want people to notice your story. Everyone does, right? And so you might tag stuff that's like not necessarily super important to your fic, but it's in
Mhm.
your fic. The thing with Yo Rico, I think, is one example of this where it's like they exist, but they're not like important in any way to the story.
You take that back, motherfucker.
Well, I mean,
Honestly,
like
like if
okay,
I
like
hate when they're background. If they're background, take them out of your tags. I don't
Oh
yeah,
want to
yeah,
it's
like
see
like
that
really
shit.
annoying.
who is tagging ships that are like a sub ship? They appear like
Oh,
once in the fan fiction.
oh, you know
Get
what?
them
Yo,
out of
we're all
here.
Or they're
calling
even
out Johnny right now.
Oh my god, no.
what do
His
you
Oh,
At
I'm
fucking
least
sorry.
the story bearing it all has like 3 ships tagged and none of them are important.
That's just a troll. That's an
they
ultimate troll.
wow.
they
I'm
they
hurt.
appear and they have clear romantic moments.
Oh, okay.
Kanan and
That's probably
Kanan and
fine.
Mari pet Dia's head. That happens.
Yeah, that's
Nice,
probably fine.
nice. Okay, you're winning me over.
Rico's like,
The most
man.
important character.
Rico's like, man, Hanamaru is kind of plump. I'm liking that.
Okay, you have Hanamaru in the fan fiction. You're winning me over again.
Poor Hanamaru.
Okay. But I do think like they could go a lot harder with this, and I think it would only be positive. Like I
Yeah,
think if
like
they cut
Yeah,
it to
I
like 20 tags was my pitch, I think that would be a good change.
yikes.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Here's the thing. That is include. So it'd be one thing if like 20 additional tags or general tags or whatever they're called, but like this is including fandom, character, ship, and the general tags.
Oh yeah,
I
in
feel,
theory it would be like you wouldn't want to
yeah,
include fandom
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. If it was, yeah, but I
Fandom's
think
a really weird one to have in there, and then
yeah.
but this is just AO3
Well, I
architecture.
think it's also because it's like I mentioned earlier. You have these fics where like 40 or 50 fandoms are tagged in one fic, and it's like, okay, pick like 5 and move on from there.
What's
This
the
is
most
obscene.
important one to you?
The most important tag,
No, I mean
or
I'm sorry, I'm bouncing off your point of like narrow down the fandoms.
I mean, I think it's I think my thing is just more if you are designing a fic where you have like 40 or 50 fandoms interacting with each other, I'd say that's a very good idea. You need to rethink your fic because that is just obscene. You are never going to finish it. It's not going to be good. You just have too much shit
I
going
haven't
on.
actually read any of these fics that have like this many fandoms in them. Have you ever read
Because
one of these?
No, and I know it's not worth my time.
Oh
Yeah, I
no.
feel like
Yeah.
it'd be like sitting down to watch an anime that you know there's 800 episodes
Yeah.
of. It's like
Yeah.
daunting almost.
Well,
It's like
hold on. I would hard disagree because like a story with 800 chapters, if it got to 800 chapters, chances are chapter 1 was pretty good. Right?
Or
That's
it
a
could be like
lie. That is a lie.
yeah, no, it could be like that one
What story do you think has 800 chapters and
I
like
think
the
Dias just
first
really
part
likes
isn't
One
everyone's
Piece.
favorite? Like if I think about like Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, all of those, the reason they were popular was like the first couple of manga that came out were really good. And then they all went downhill after a couple of years, right?
How-
It's I don't think it's the case that you start off bad and then you get better later, right? Because then like you just wouldn't get funding.
I mean there have been
Speaking
examples.
purely in the
Yeah.
anime space, this has nothing to do with fan fiction.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I'm
trying to
thinking more like a fan fiction aspect. Like, if it has so many tags and so many chapters, I won't read it because I just know it's just not good. Something about it gives off
or
that aura.
yeah, or that it won't be like worth your investment. You know, it's that thing of like the more time you put in something, the more you feel like, yes, this is gonna be worth it. And if it's not worth it, well, what'd you do with all that time?
Yeah. It almost gives like off like crack aura.
Yes.
Like you look
Yeah,
at it and
yeah.
you're like, this is a shit post, basically.
Yeah. I don't want to read a shit post that's like 5 million words long.
Yeah, like I know it's kind of a stigma, but like I feel like that's honestly the truth
Hmm.
with at least most of them. And I mean, like the stats are here on the update. It says average number of tags is 17, which
Yeah.
that's probably about average. Most common is 11, which man, I don't with most of my fics, I don't even think I hit like
Do you think
10.
they have like stats
Same.
for everyone? Is there like a tag counter?
It says we looked at all the works
Maybe.
on the archive, so I'm assuming they.
Crazy, but that they have those stats, by the way. And then,
Yeah.
but then
Yeah,
it says
I
less
want
than
some of these stats. How
0.5.
many tags do I use? Hang on.
That'd be sick, right?
Yeah.
And less than 0.5 have 75. So
I'm like looking at my
0.5%.
like page now, and it's like
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like it's like 4 to 10 tags per story. Like all of
Yeah.
these one shots are like very low on the tag count.
I
mean,
just
if
feel
you-
like I have a hard time getting past like 5.
See, I have the opposite problem.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm the kind of person like I need everything that happens. I need it to be tagged. It all has to be here. But like I feel like, especially with this,
With
I'll
Love
be
Live ships is Love Live fiction especially, it's like you don't get a lot of hits to begin with, so you need everyone
Yeah.
you get.
Yeah, but I also feel like from what I at least see, Love Life fiction doesn't really have any issue. I've never really noticed this. Like, if we're talking about purely Love Life fics, not anything that's crossover or anything, I don't recall like this being a real issue. I don't know.
It's a tag thing.
Yeah, like an absurd amount of tags.
I think it does creep into there. If you're like sorting by
Yeah.
hits or sorting by kudos.
Yeah, no, yeah, but like it's not like a huge issue. It's not like I'm assuming like fandoms have this issue like. And not to be stereotypical, but the My Hero Academia fanfics are probably just like ginormous in tags. I don't know.
Well, there's tons of
I
characters
mean,
in that
it's
show
a more
too.
popular fandom, right? Of course, it's gonna
Yeah.
have more problems with it.
Yeah.
It's kind
I
of
don't
the
know about you
nature of
guys,
fandom,
but
I think.
I don't get the whole thing of like overly tagging. Like, you don't need to put in your fan fiction like, oh, fluff,
Well, I think it's
cuddles,
just like
stuff like that.
It's just the YouTube mentality of like you want as much attention as possible, right?
Yeah.
You just flood tags, I guess. I'm kind of with you, Lid. I like started off like tagging that stuff all the time, but now I've kind of fallen off more in favor of like you put like the most minimal tags you can, and then make your description super compelling.
Mm.
I feel like
So,
more
Yeah.
people
you-
read the
but,
description
like,
than they do the tags
In
anyway.
saying that, surely you understand that you're just not going to get as many hits then, right?
Yeah, people don't read.
You just gotta trust people who like your work then.
People
true.
will
Are
way
are you not
focus on
confident in your
tags
stuff?
over focusing on
Never.
maybe this is my personal experience, but
Oh, sad.
when I go and I read fics, right? I look at the tags and then I
Mhm.
look at the summary, right? I don't look at
Yeah.
the summary and then the tags. So like
Interesting.
if you're just like, oh, I don't want to put any tags on, then like my instinct is like, I'll just look right past it.
Now,
Yeah.
now let me posture you this. So, how often do you search by like a tag specifically that isn't like a character you want to read a story of?
Sometimes.
Like, I feel like for me, I specifically am like, I search for a ship, or I'll search for just Love Live Sunshine in general and scroll down Love Live
Mhm.
Sunshine.
Mm.
Yeah, I would say
I
more
feel
often for
very
me.
rarely I'm like, man, I really want to read some like give me an example of a tag, like
Tags
Cuddles.
for
hard.
lovers.
Emotional
Yeah.
comfort.
Yeah, like
I'll do it for AUs. There's like villain
Mm.
AUs and stuff that I'll read.
I
Right.
will search like tags within fandoms, but not just like. Well, sometimes I'll search the tag by itself. More often, it's like, oh, I want to read Love Life fic with, whatever.
I will
yeah,
also say
exactly.
for not say for work stuff, I think tags are like very
Much more
important in there,
important.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to know the
Okay, yeah,
content.
that'll give it the pass.
Yeah, especially if
Mhm.
like it gets into stuff that like other people are gonna be like, about, then it's like, yeah, you might want to put that in. I will say that
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's more egregious for me is not so much over tagging, it's like over tagging when half the tags or over half the tags are like non-canon stuff or like stuff that isn't actual tags, it's just like Tumblr tags.
I'm
Oh,
thinking like
yeah, like
synonyms of one another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I
confused.
don't like
How do
that
you
one.
mean?
So, like imagine you're looking at fic and there's tags like let's say you're looking at a Nico Nozo fic and it's like emotional hurt comfort, alternative AU, medieval, and you're like, okay, whatever. Then stuff like uh Nico is such a cute uwu bunny in this uwu, and then
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's like
Oh,
stuff that's
yeah.
like so personal that it's like, or like so particular to the fic that it just feels like kind of a waste of space.
Like,
It's
you
just
know,
like,
that's the only tag of the only fic on
yes,
AoE.
that's like the only
Yeah.
time it's ever been used and will never be used again. And it's like, what
Yeah,
are you
no,
doing here?
I've encountered these like a lot. I never thought of them as a particular problem or annoyance. What's getting you down about them?
I will say it's not them themselves. I use them. I feel like they can help add additional information that tags may not always
It's kind of like
fulfill.
an author's note, isn't it? Just like on
Yeah, a
the
little bit.
front
But it just
page.
it's when it's like the majority of stuff, and especially when there's like actual tags that could fulfill that, it just feels I don't
Re-
know.
It's not
I feel
redundant.
like
It
it's
just
written
looks
by
kind of.
someone who.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I was gonna say I feel like it's written by somebody who's like not. Hate to say, but like not very mature.
Yeah, it definitely
Kinda.
indicates yeah, very much so. Someone who AO3 is not like their primary sphere, someone who might spend more time on like Instagram or TikTok where like having very specific tags are like a huge thing on there, and like whereas at
And does this impression that they spend most of their time on TikTok like really lower your expectation of the fic or
Johnny,
I
do
will
you
s-
like TikTok?
I don't
no.
I don't have TikTok, so I can't say. And I look, if you do TikTok, that's cool. I will just say that is like an impression I get, and I just, I'm not gonna say it's gonna lower my expectations. I'm just not gonna have as much hope. I just feel like it doesn't.
I just brought
Same
it up
thing.
because I felt like you were really splitting hairs with this one. Like this seems like the most insignificant problem in the
Yeah,
world.
I don't.
Listen,
I
we're
don't.
talking about AO3 tags, man. I
Yeah,
don't know.
we're
You're
talking about
right.
fan fiction.
The topic is not that deep. You want to know what is
Hmm.
deep? The next topic.
Oh
Oh, that
boy.
transition was very smooth.
Yeah.
So one thing, and I said this before the podcast started. One thing we are a writing server, and
What, really?
when it comes to writing, I think there are topics that are like not related to Love Live that we can kind of get into. I think this one is particularly one of them. The question itself was, what are some of the best parental figures in media? And then as a secondary question, what makes a good parent?
That's a
Damn.
question, not a topic.
is a-
You lied to me, Dias. How dare you?
It was posted like 4 days ago. I know we reposted just parents, but
Yeah.
you just scroll up, it's there.
Nope, you're
Yeah.
off the podcast. Sorry.
I'm the new host now. That's why I came here.
I
Oh
will not
shit.
tolerate lies.
But okay, when you think of parental figures, what comes to mind for y'all? I know we watched together. Well, I don't think Lid was there, but we watched Somali, me and Supreme.
Oh, I watched the end with y'all.
Yeah. Lid was there for about half of that.
Oh,
That
I was
is
trying
that
to...
is a story that is very explicitly about kind of parenthood, but like I would say more directly about fatherhood. About being this like
Parenthood.
stoic, silent-y type figure that
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
a father would
anyone
tend to be.
for anyone who hasn't seen it, this was the anime that came out last year, I think, in 2020, and it's a
I think it's
fantasy
2019. It's Somali and the Forest Spirit.
Forest Spirit. Yeah, and it's a fantasy anime where it's, Earth or the world or whatever has been overtaken and sort of now controlled by monsters, or not controlled, but it's more so they are the ruling species, so to say. And there's this human girl who is being taken care of by this golem. But
It's a boy.
yeah.
That's-
But he. I thought it was a girl this whole time.
No, I think they very intentionally made it like a little ambiguous.
Okay.
But if you look at the description, it is a dude.
Yeah.
They got
I will say-
another one, boys.
I've not seen this, so. But yeah, it's basically what it's like.
It's this very cute kid who is
Yeah.
like left alone in a forest, and the entire anime revolves around this golem man leaving his home, taking this kid to try and find other humans, right? And on this way, he's very like clearly like, oh, golems have no emotion. And like from episode 1, they don't pretend like this is like a real thing. This is clearly just like how he perceives himself, because he goes out of his way to like take care of this kid at every opportunity, making sure he doesn't get like cold and stuff. I say it's very explicitly about fatherhood, but there's a lot of parental themes going on. Stuff like the kid constantly like disappearing and like the father freaking out, like, where the fuck did he go? There's a number of scenes that sort of hinge on this idea of the uncertainty of how the kid is doing, right? I mean, and that's more of a maybe an issue with more traditional fatherly parents, is that they don't want to get too close to their kid, because it's when you're a parent, there's like a certain level of intimidation that you need to be able to have with your kid. You don't want to be too buddy with them. But what that can cause is that like sometimes your kid isn't willing to like confide in you, or they don't like know how to speak with you, right? And this comes across in Somali in some of the earlier episodes, especially where like the kid will like try and do stuff and like hide it from Golem Daddy, right?
Golem Daddy.
And
I
so
like that, Dias.
yeah, like just like throughout the show, I think it's a really it's really wholesome and it's really cute, and if you just like wholesome cute stuff, that's great. But then two, I think it does a really good like look at parenthood, really, and just like watching this golem go through the emotions. There's one point I remember really well at like I think it's like episode 5, the end of the episode. Someone tells the golem, "Hey, this kid really cares about you. You better not disappoint him," right? And
Yeah,
up
then
until
by
this,
the end of the show, they like hit you with the feels where they're like, "But what if Golem did have feelings?"
yeah, like this show's really good at making like tension and like making you think bad stuff is going to happen and then having it happen, right?
I guess spoiler warning for Somali. Maybe?
Oops.
Like
Maybe.
I'm not
I
trying to
just
get too
realized
deep
maybe.
into it, but like
Yeah.
I think that's a show with like a really good parent and like a really good like showing of what parents are about without getting like really specific or really too into it. I
And
think.
like beating you over the head with it. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's at least for me, I think the best depictions of parental figures in anything, in any sort of media, are the ones that are the most honest, that are like, I don't have any interest in parenting myself, but like I definitely know that's like it's a hard thing. You are bringing a new life form into the world that you're going to have to take care of, in one way or another for a significant amount in your life, and that is a lot of energy and effort.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I definitely say like the best sort of media is like when they're like, you know, parents are gonna mess up. Parents are they're not always gonna know what's best for their child. They're not always gonna know what their child wants, but the best kinds of parents are the ones who eventually find the right thing to do, whether it comes sooner or later.
Yeah, parents are like a good source of conflict as well,
Hmm.
like in stuff. Like you usually have like their parents will either be like they won't be close with their parents and then they resolve it by the end of the show, or they're close with their parents then they're not close with their parents and they resolve it by the end of the show. Like there's lots of plot points you can revolve around family specifically
Supreme,
because it's such an
Lid,
easy topic
have
to
either of
to go
you
with.
tried to like write parents in a fic? Explicitly, like, I assume Love Live Girl's parents.
Bro, Yo and Rico has parents to another
they
child.
Eyes.
they do have parents, yeah. Have you tried like to
What if
write
Yo
them?
and Rico were the parents?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Done. I think
Done.
I've written Yo and Rico's parents, or Rico's parents one time. So I
When
was like,
when you're writing their parents, what is like the mental process you go through? Are you like scared that you're gonna like misrepresent them, or because there's like not a lot of material on them?
I don't know. I just kind of throw out like what I think they would be like. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about how they're represented because it's like, what are you gonna do? You have nothing to like
Yeah.
go against me.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
you do have
What's
at least
up?
one. I was gonna say you do have at least one thing, which is you know, based on how Yo and Rico act, you at least have a sense of like, well, if they are this way, then it's likely that their parents were this way.
Yeah,
For
it's like
example,
duplicate.
for example, the
Mhm.
fact that Yo was very much so interested in the ocean, like her father, indicates that she at least has some close relationship with her father. So that is at least one thing you can integrate into your fic if you have them appear or if you have them referenced in one way. So even if a parent doesn't
Referencing
appear,
them is one thing, but I think one of the most interesting uses of parents is sort of having how do I describe this? Like a mirrored story where
Mhm.
you know how George Lucas was like, "Oh, it's like poetry, it rhymes."
Yeah.
There's like what comes to mind is Gravity Falls. I don't know how many people have watched Gravity Falls, but the show is centered around this twin pairing, Mabel and Dipper, and alongside this twin, ah shit, this is a major fucking spoiler. But basically there is
Don't
another
spoil
set
that
of
show.
twins.
It's been out for years.
There is another
Yeah.
set of twins that
People will be
appears
pissed
later on
off.
in the show, and
Uh,
that set of twins have a very like similar origin story with a very different ending to what the Dipper and Mabel, the main pairing, main twins have, and it's sort
mhm,
of meant to be like a almost a warning symbol, like, hey, this is what Mabel and Dipper can become if they fuck up, right? That's sort
mhm.
of parallel to their story. Like this
Yeah.
is
Well,
you can see in the future in a sense.
and that show's a good example too because they're like Stan isn't really their dad, right? Like he's just their uncle and he's kind of forced into positions a lot in that show where he's forced to be their parent.
Yeah.
And it's like
Oh,
it's
he
interesting
is
to
very explicitly their guardian, right? And he has the
yeah, exactly.
expectations of a parent.
But like I'm saying there's a lot of things, there's a lot of different ways you can take parents and the idea of parents in media where you can have people be not even necessarily their parents but a
Of
parental
course,
figure
yeah,
to them.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Family can be defined in a lot of different ways for sure.
Definitely. And I think found family especially,
Oh, that's a dude. That's a fucking trope I've been getting into
yeah.
recently.
Oh,
I
Oh
find
yeah.
that
yeah.
a lot of isekai. So
Yes.
firstly, I want to start by saying acknowledging that the main feeling on isekai right now is there is no good isekai. But then I want to follow that up by saying there's a lot of really good isekai, and one
And
of them.
You like are you is this leading into Baccarino?
No, that's a good
What?
one, but well, I wouldn't consider that found family. When
No,
I
I just thought this was
say
going to be another tangent of something Dias likes.
the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think
I'm just waiting for
isekai
him to tie
has
family
a
into Bandori
habit.
somehow.
It's because isekai has a habit of building on this found family trope of like a character goes into another world and they find people they care about and they bond with them and they have like these sort of social relationships to the level of a family, right?
Mhm.
And I find that like really interesting that isekai has chosen to like focus so much on this aspect of a relationship, because with found family there's a lot of potential for betrayal, for drama, right? For but also for like, belonging and like fulfilling emotions that like are hard to get out, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like basically breaking the laws of like you can't pick your family, right?
Yeah.
like
And
the,
In a weird
feeling
sort of
like
way with
you
isekai
belong is like a
specifically.
really difficult thing to like put into words, but it's also something that's really important to people, right? It's
Yeah.
something that comes up
Mhm.
all the time with like adopted kids, is like they don't, whether or not you feel like you belong with your parents is like a really uh sometimes a difficult thing to nail down
Mhm.
on like a personal level. And in writing, that's something you can explore really well because you have so much internal space to explore, right?
Yeah, and really make
Yeah.
it relatable for sure.
Yeah, and I think another place that you definitely see found family as a trope, for decades now, is in queer media and queer fandoms, because obviously being a queer person means you're opening yourself at risk to being rejected by your biological family. And so found families have been an important, life source for queer people. So you see in
Mm.
both media created by queer people or about queer people, and fandoms that are predominantly queer oriented. I don't think it's any coincidence that recent Western animation shows with found family elements like Steven Universe, The Owl House, She-Ra, all those are made by queer creators. So we definitely see the
Would
sense
you
of.
consider Steven
Mhm.
Universe found family? Because like
I
he
will.
he grows up with them, right? Like they
Yeah,
are very
Ugh.
explicitly more family to him than his actual family.
this is where I once again realize I'm talking about something that I have never seen. So,
Oh
Ayo, same
no.
though.
All right, we won't get into Steven Universe then.
yeah, but I
But
mean, but no, just the idea of like, yeah, that for, and I think also this can relate to Love Live. I mean, I don't see found family a lot in Love Live, but I can see that being a thing of like how these the different groups that we see over the years are in some ways are just as close as family, if not more so. That
yeah,
that yeah, the
that
members of
definitely there
fuse.
is something about sports teams, I think, that
Yes,
builds that kind
yeah.
of very close relationship.
They definitely too in Love Live specifically, like they have the tendrils kind of in the ground for that type of relationship. Like they're all so close
Oh, I thought
together,
you
and
were
look
gonna
at
say
them
that
all on.
kind of drama. I was like, yep, it's all about that
Well,
kind of drama.
the tendrils can grow any way they want to. It can be happy, it can be sad, but like that type of stuff specifically, where it's like, yeah, they're so close or whatever.
Yeah.
You could argue like specific headcanons of like, oh yeah, um, Yoshiko has a really hard like parent life or whatever,
Mhm.
or Mari's parents don't really like care for her, so she's all on her own in Japan, etc., etc.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
What kind
Yeah.
But
of
and
when you're looking for anime and you're watching these characters, is that something that jumps out at you? This these sort of like relationships that build that are like closer to family in a sense, closer than family rather.
I feel
I
like it
don't.
doesn't jump out at me. I feel like it's just kind of a thing that exists, and I'm like,
It's
this
not
is
something that
nice.
like especially like you're like, oh, that's so sweet.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I notice if
Yeah.
if I notice it if it wasn't there, but it being there doesn't blow me away. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's
So
there,
so
it's
you're
cute.
apathetic
But
for
if it's
it.
not, it's like okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally. Like Sunshine is a great example. Like if they weren't as close and they won Love Live, it would be like less impactful. But they are so close, and they did win Love Live, and so you're at the end, you're like, that's nice, good for them. They're all good friends, etc., etc. Like you branch that into literally any other idol show that you want to.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I know specifically,
I'm
I
I'm
just
trying to
finished
like think
watching.
about like things I want to say about this, because this is like a topic with a lot of depth to it,
Mhm.
right?
Well, I
Parenting.
guess.
How do
Listen,
you depict
Yeah.
parents, especially if in teen media, oftentimes like they like to go through that sort of rebel teen phase where the parent and the kid
Rebel.
don't necessarily see eye to eye, right? And that's a
Hmm.
difficult thing. I can't imagine how I would like even start to attempt to write that. I suppose you would have to understand what exactly it is the teen is rebelling against, right?
Have you
Yeah.
had teen angst in your life? Yes or no?
Have you listened to Linkin Park?
Yeah, I have teen angst until I'm 25. What's up?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Obama.
No, but in all seriousness, like I think that's got to be like one of the hardest things to explore in media because it is kind of volatile. Is that sort of like a kid's relationship to their parent?
Yeah.
Whether it be
Well,
something like
and kind of to track back to what Lid said earlier when you asked her about like Rico's parents, it's kind of nice to having like the parental figure exists in a piece of media and you're like, okay, I want to write this person's parent. It's nice having kind of like that blank slate, but at the same time having a bit of personality as well. So like Rico's mom is basically just older Rico,
yeah.
and it's kind of nice being able to kind of base that off of her, if that makes any sense. Like you can really take
Yeah.
it like with that, you can, it's not like she's a nice person, she's defined as a nice person. You can kind of take that whichever way you want. So if you wanted to write like Rico teen angst, you could do that, or you could write her and her mom being super wholesome or whatever.
Fan fiction does sort of have this thing where it gives you a lot of opportunities to explore spaces that the original show maybe didn't.
Hmm.
Rico's mom is
Right.
probably a really good example of like we see her, but we don't really know anything about her, right? If
Yeah.
you as a fanfic author really wanted to explore this character, maybe you just like really like the mom. Not gonna say why. You
Don't worry, you don't have to. We know.
Yeah, we know.
you have the opportunity in fan fiction to build a backstory for her, build a personality, and create stories that can tie into the original fiction, maybe even enrich the world of the original fiction in really cool ways.
Yeah. Actually, that sort of, the main thing that I would want to talk about when we brought up this parental topic is the fic that's a Love Life fic. I know we're back to Love Life. That there's this fic that I read in a few chapters for that I've been really enjoying. It's called Mother and Child Reunion, and this is a Tsubasa Honoka fic. And it's a post-canon fic where Tsubasa and Honoka dated for a while, but Tsubasa broke up to, focus
You're
more on
gonna
her
need to give an
career.
explanation on Tsubasa because no one remembers who she is.
What?
Yeah.
Tsubasa's so memorable.
She was in that one episode of that show.
There's
she-
definitely a good 33% of the fandom that's very angry at me right now.
she
No,
holds
guys, you
Honoka's
got that wrong.
hand.
There's
And then the
33
other
people in the
66%
fandom
it's
that are
like,
mad
oh
at you.
yeah, wait, who's Tsubasa?
Okay, yeah. So for those of you who actually forgot, Tsubasa, she's the head of Arise at UTX, the rivals of School Idol Project, who is, very comfy with Honoka. Like I said in this fic, they dated for a while. Tsubasa broke up with her to focus on her career, and this is
in the fic.
Yeah, this is the backstory for the fic, and sort of the fic starts a few years after that. Honoka wants to meet up with Tsubasa. She's like, "All right, let's see how this goes." Turns out, Tsubasa had a kid with Honoka that she had no idea about. And Tsubasa's like, "Oh, shit, I really messed this one up." And so, they reconcile in that chapter, and Tsubasa gets to meet her son. And
It's a really like emotional thing finding out you
Yeah.
had a kid, because
Yeah.
there's like the implication of responsibility that you've sort of failed. There's the aspect of, okay, now I gotta like slap together myself to like be a good role model for your fucking kid.
Ryan's looking at his like 7 kids in the background right now.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
Fucking.
But
But
what's also
I think it's just like a really interesting thing because this is something that will happen to people, is that like for one reason or another, like parents will split up, and then like you take one kid in your run basically, and kids will grow up in like single houses, and so
Mhm.
that's a really terrifying space to
Yeah.
explore, because it is
But
very
also, yeah. But then what I think is, more interesting is that, yeah, there's that chapter, but then there's also additional chapters that like each take place successively afterwards. And so you see Tsubasa, having a family with Honoka. They have more kids. There's more experiences. Other couples are having kids, and what I wanted to do with that fic, especially because it's entirely from Subasa's point of view, is just try to explore the different views of parenthood and the different ways that you deal
Oh,
with
hey,
different
that's
aspects.
exactly what we're fucking talking about.
Yeah. So like
Hey.
in the third chapter, Ellie and Nozomi are going to be having a kid, and Ellie is talking with Tsubasa. She's like, just worried that she's not going to be a good mother, and Tsubasa can talk with her about like her own experiences. And then there's another chapter where her oldest child, her son, gets injured, and Tsubasa, kind of has a panic attack because she doesn't know how to deal with this. She never really had to consider this beforehand when he was younger, and she's able to deal with that. And there's no other chapters right now, but there's definitely still ideas I want to explore with that. But yeah, I just very much so am interested in this idea of
Sounds really
how
cool. Yeah.
just how does one be a parent, and how does one deal with the different experiences that one can go through in
Oh
that
wait,
sense.
you're writing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Oh.
yeah, not
Just
active.
posted.
Yeah,
He's got currently 4 chapters out of question mode.
Oh, I literally just saw you post that. Shit, I
yeah.
didn't know that was yours. Fuck, dude. We picked the perfect podcast to have you on then. This is sick.
Yeah, when I saw Dias post that idea, I'm like, oh, I have
That's oddly
experience.
topical.
Yeah.
Shit. That's sick. I was wondering, I'm like, damn, Johnny really likes this other person's fan fiction. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I will, if you want to talk about other people's fan fictions. Earlier, Johnny mentioned My Next Life as a Villainess. All routes lead to Doom. It's a franchise that I'm really into. One of the reasons I think that show is really good is because the mother in that story is just kind of really interesting. So basically the way this story goes is that there was like an original timeline, and then because an isekai happened, that timeline gets changed, right? In the original timeline, this mother is just like kind of a piece of shit,
mhm.
but a running theme in the story is that because of the isekai, you have this like isekai character coming in, and this girl Katarina, she changes many of the characters in this world very much unintentionally, right?
Yeah.
And
She
it can
is
border
low intelligence, high charisma kind of D&D character.
Oh,
it can
hell yeah.
border on like a little bit of absurdity, right? Like
Yeah.
the official explanation for why the mother becomes like a lot nicer and more loving throughout the show is because she didn't realize her husband loved her, and she thought her husband had an affair with her, an affair on her, right? And because Katarina was so dumb, she like felt like a failure, and she confided in her husband, and her husband was like, "You're not a failure. I love you." And they fucking reunite. This is, by the way, not something that's explored directly in the anime, but it's very direct in the light novel. So like bullshit that was
As
cut
usual.
out.
if
As
only
usual.
if only Jon Snow was that done, that Catelyn could have gone to Ned, and it's like, oh, where did I go wrong? And Ned's like, so there's
Yeah.
this Tower of Joy.
Yeah, so that was just
Yeah,
like an
dude, we could
interesting
have like
space
fucking
for it.
cut half the show out. Damn. Dude, John has been like, I mean, like, yeah, it's like season 1. I'm the king. Fuck off.
Or just he's eating snow at Winterfall, and they're like, John, I know it's not yellow, but still. Anyway,
Sorry, we're
back
talking
to,
about Game of Thrones right now.
Yes.
We're very off topic.
back to an actually stupid character.
Indeed.
No, I talked about everything I want to talk about with
Oh,
Katarina.
okay, yeah.
Fuck. Do we want to move on to questions then? How long are we're like almost an hour in?
We're almost an hour. Like we can wrap up pretty soon.
Yeah, I'll vibe a couple questions.
Lid, do you want to pick one out? Is there anything you want to talk about in particular? Lid's mic
Why
just
would you
turn
put me in a
on.
spot like that?
It sounded like Lid's microphone like had to kick in there.
Yeah,
That was very
it was
weird.
like, oh shit, I gotta turn this on.
That was fucked up.
You gotta
Is
caught
there
me off
anything
guard.
related to writing that you want to talk about? Are you writing anything at the moment?
I am. Yeah, I'm finishing something up for Rika's birthday.
Oh,
Oh.
that's soon.
So,
Yes.
yeah, I'm running out of time, so I'm like panic writing.
Being there.
That sounds like something Rico would do. I need to finish my dojin. I only
Yeah,
have a
right.
single
Yeah.
comic yet.
The comic that's coming around.
Uh,
I
When
like the
you're
idea of panic
Lid,
writing, by the way, where it's just you sitting at your keyboard, like wanting to type in Google Docs, but you just look a little bit more like nervous than normal.
Yeah.
it's the
what?
next emote.
Never.
Lid, when you make these like fics for characters' birthdays, what is your mindset with them? How do you get started? Like, what are you trying to do with them?
I just pick one of my fics from like my very long prompt list and I just run with it. I've tried doing the whole like write a birthday fic on their birthday, but it never works out for me
Yeah.
personally. So I just pick any random story that I can feel motivated to do within a short time and I
And
pump
this
it out.
can be like any story. It doesn't have to like highlight the character necessarily.
No, I mean I definitely want it like with the character. You know, I don't want to post a Yoshiko story on Yo's birthday.
Yeah,
But
duh.
just like I don't know, something just where
Yeah,
they're
for
the
sure that
center of
makes sense.
attention.
You want to if you want to celebrate a character with your fic, would
And
make
Yo is
sense.
definitely also going to be there,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah,
not
she'll
related.
be number one. Even if it's not her birthday, she'll be there.
She's number one in your
Um,
heart, always.
So,
Yeah,
Dias,
always.
actually, does that imply that you don't write fics for characters' birthdays?
I tried it for a bit. I think I got like really inspired by Ash and like the way Ash does fics. Ash is another fanfic writer. Nowadays more of a
Hmm.
Bang Dream writer, but like they was they would I don't know what fucking gender they are. I'm sorry. But they would write for like every single birthday. And they did this really interesting thing where like oftentimes it would be like genfic type stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like you know, I can get into it and certainly I can vibe with like this idea of like a celebration because characters' birthdays, let's be honest, it's almost entirely fan service.
Right.
There is no reason for a
Yeah.
fictional character to have a birthday except to sell merchandise and do stuff for
And
them in
to
like an
have
idle
people
sense.
draw a bunch of art of them.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
right? It's just like a
Ooh.
really great marketing thing that Japan has tapped into now.
Mhm.
And so like I can vibe with it, right? Cuz it's like it's a lot of fun to like have this flood of art come in and have a lot of people just celebrate a character, right?
It's like Mari's birthday is like my birthday because I no longer have to commission people to draw art of Mari. They just do it anyway.
Yeah, Dance will be
Oh,
like, here
yeah.
we go.
It's awesome.
I'm like, man, but how
Actually,
come none of you read my fics?
where's Dias's birthday where we all draw art of Dias?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get too far away from this, actually, I'm looking at the questions right now, and there's a really good one that relates very similarly to the last question Dias asked, which is a question for Lid that was posted by. There is no name, so it's anonymous. Asking, what is your favorite Yoriko idea that you've never finished?
Oh, I got
Like
like
start, I
70,
guess
dude.
started and never
Oh
finished.
no.
Like
Well, yeah, take a
legitimately,
leaf
I could
through, pull out
sprint
your
through.
binder and start like looking through it, see what's see what jumps out.
I really could. Let me send you like my quick folder of my fanfic. Mind
Oh
you, this is
god.
about I want to say a good 90% is Yo and Rico. Like I don't know why. I'm just that
Oh,
kind
like
of
it's
Yeah,
not
person.
even
I
it's
have
not
no
even just
idea.
it's not even just normal prompt. It's like specifically Yoriko prompts.
Yeah,
Did
that's
you
my
see
subfolder.
there
Fanfic
was a
90.
video about Genshin by I think her name is Emily something. Emily, I don't know. But she makes this video and she's like, "Ah, I wonder why people are interested in this game." And she sees Kaya, who's just like this dude with like a little bit of a shirt window, and she's like, "Oh, okay, I get it now."
Hey, it's those shirt windows.
Yeah, indeed.
It's
They
just
draw how
like,
to
"Ah,
begin.
it's hot."
Yeah.
Good character design.
Fucking 90, goddamn.
Lid,
Yeah.
what's the one you can think of the most?
Probably I had one a long time ago. It was like based on the movie Back to the Future, in
Ooh.
Oh,
which
that's
like
awesome.
Shizuku's supposed to be Yo and Rico's child, but she goes back in time and messes up the meeting, so she has to
Ugh.
re-put them back together.
Oh,
Ooh.
oh god, putting
So
those two
no
ideas
fucking her
together.
mom in
Oh,
there.
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I take that part out.
Yeah. Look, it
I
was the
wrote like
80s.
90% of it. I wrote a lot of
Yeah.
it, but my friend took it off my plate, and then like they never finished it, so it's like I don't
Oh,
know when
I
I'll ever get back
hate
to
it
it.
when that happens.
Yeah.
Working with other
Trust your.
people can always be
This is
very
why you don't
difficult.
trust your friends with anything.
Yeah, I've had a couple fics that are like that, where they're like, "Oh, dude, we should co-write," and then I'll write half of it, and I leave it to them to write the other half, and it never happens, and I just get sad.
For sure.
Yeah,
Damn,
so
that sounds like a
I'll
good
get back to
idea
it one
though.
day.
Yeah, that
I'll
sounds
get back to it one
interesting.
day.
Yes,
Yeah,
do it.
90%. Damn, you could that 10% could get burned out in
Yeah.
like an afternoon with a couple cans of Diet Coke or something.
Imagine
Yeah, I
if
can
you
actually
from the
get rid of some
future.
too.
Imagine if you from the future comes to the present like you got to do this, otherwise, Yo Rico as we know it is going to come to an end.
The ship
Oh
will
my god.
never.
Not another fic, not another
It
Dojin
gets replaced by
I'm the only one
Yo
who writes
Chica.
fics anyways.
Oh, I was gonna say Dire Ruby.
Badge.
Um, so I'm curious, with me being the guest, does anyone have any questions for me with my particular experience?
Yeah, I suppose we could ask you a question specifically.
Yeah.
Let me grab one.
What
How
a
about
fucking
this? This is
statement.
this is a good one. It's in general, but this is a good one specifically for you, Johnny. It's kind of
Mhm.
related to the other question, honestly. Is there ever a fic that you've wanted to write, but you couldn't because of blank? Or like a dream of writing, but can't because of blank?
So basically, just like, what was the reason I didn't write a fic?
Yeah, or like wanted to, but you like just couldn't for whatever reason.
That's
Where
a good
is this?
question.
This is in general?
This is in. I think we talked about this on the podcast last week. I took all the questions in the podcast channel and put them all in a Google Doc.
Oh.
Is something you couldn't write because of blank.
Yeah, so basically just like what was the reason you didn't write something? I mean, so there's a lot of ideas that I have, and I would say just happen or don't happen because I think about them for more than like 5 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't seem like something I wouldn't have want to write. So yeah, I mean, there's no particular examples that come to mind, but the main thing is like, yeah, just not interested in writing it, or it doesn't fit me, or I don't think it'd be something that I'd be good at. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything. I mean, there. I would say if there is anything in particular, so there's like, so there's not a fic that I didn't write, but there's a fic that I stopped writing. So the fic that, I would guess would say maybe famous question mark, or at least well known is there's this fic I wrote called Just a Child, which is a Kobayashi fic, a Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid fic. Um, this is a fic where Kana is assaulted. I'm going to say
Jesus.
it like yeah no that was written in a weird time because I'd have to go back to check the sort of initial time when I was first writing it, but I believe I was writing it, or I was starting to write the first chapters around the time that, the Harvey Weinstein, accusations broke out and Me Too started. So that was definitely like sort of the mindset I was working on. I was like looking at how to handle these themes of like assault and trauma through all the
Okay.
characters. But the issue became is that the story became too much was going on. Like there were all these original characters and all these different ideas that were going on, and I sort of realized at one point after like over a year of it
Yeah,
hibernating, that I'm
original
just
characters
like,
are very painful to
yeah,
work with because it's very difficult to make them feel natural to a show. You're almost always establishing your own canon with them.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I get for me the more realization was that what I wanted the fic to do and what it was becoming were so different that I could not like the fic could not continue as it was. So that is like I just it's a dead fic. I might try to write something based on it that's more in line with what I want to do someday. But yeah, it's just laying there as
It,
it is. So yeah, see that
Writing with a theme in mind is I find it somewhat difficult for sure. Because like
it
yeah,
sounds
if
like
you,
something that would have needed a lot of planning, and then it
yeah.
didn't get a lot of planning, and so but you got about halfway through, and you're like, ah, shit.
Oh
Like,
god, I don't. If I had actually gone through what I don't even think I might have gone like. I think like what I have is like maybe a fifth of what? No, not even that. Yeah, that's the thing is like it became too much too quickly. Like I said, I barely planned
Yeah.
it. I just wrote the initial chapters and sort of
But
figured out the
I
story as it
think if
went.
you're trying to explore something, I think it's a really good idea to do a multi-chapter thing,
Hmm.
which usually will require more planning. But
Yeah.
I've tried writing with like a specific theme in mind, even something really basic like, oh, you got to believe in yourself. But when you're doing something like that, a one shot can be really unsatisfying because
Hmm.
it can be kind of. I mean, Lit can attest to this. I had her beta one of my fics, and she was like, "Yeah, it seems kind of like abrupt." And then when I'm reading it, I was like, I was really happy with it. But I can acknowledge, right? Like it's kind of trying to do a lot with a little bit of space, right?
Hmm.
Right. You were
Um,
Yeah.
basically inadvertently hindering yourself to like a word limit or
and
something
of
like
course,
that, right?
in fiction, you don't want kind of the beauty of fiction is that everything can make sense, everything can have a purpose. You can really carefully create a puzzle or an image, and give it that sense of like real value and meaning, right?
Yeah.
But you don't want to limit yourself to a small word count because then it feels like your ideas aren't explored enough, right? It's really
Yeah.
Right.
easy for someone with
Like
like a real
sometimes,
nitpicky mind to just be like, well, why didn't they try this? Why didn't she say
yeah,
this?
sometimes like the idea is broader than the canvas you're trying to work on in a sense. Like say like our event fix are a great example. It's like, oh, you're limited to like say 2,000 words. Sometimes
Those
you
are
have an
really
idea.
fun, but they're not great spaces to explore ideas for
Oh,
sure.
totally. And I've oftentimes like I've seen one of the event fix. I wrote it like 2,000 words or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I'm going back to this later because I can
Yeah.
probably write another 4,000. That type of thing. But yeah,
Yeah, no, definitely. Going back to that fic I mentioned, the Subasa Honoka fic, that was something that yeah started off as just this one shot of Subasa reclaiming a family that she previously didn't know existed, and then yeah, it just developed because I got more ideas from it about like, well, how would Subasa deal with this, or how would this happen, and that kind of thing. And yeah, definitely, no, I think that sometimes perhaps the best way or like a good way at least to approach a fic is like writing a chapter or writing it as a one shot and then coming back to it sometime later and then realizing there's more you can do with this and then adding more as it comes naturally. So sometimes
totally.
obviously it's good to plan and have like this big idea of like what you're going to do, and then sometimes it's better to just
Better
be
to just
like,
write.
yeah,
Yeah,
have
I
the
find
ideas
that
come
often
along.
happens to me. Like I'll just write and write and write and write, and
Yeah.
then I'll look up and it's 9,000 words, and I'm like, sweet.
Poggin.
Yeah. So
So
I
we're
guess
currently an hour, almost an hour, 10 minutes into this.
I
Uh,
was gonna end off Dias on one more final question. That's
Hmm.
just a kind of a dumb one-off.
okay,
Ooh,
When are
those
we
are
sure.
not
fun.
dumb?
Yeah, it's fine. Listen, I'm
I
editing
have
this.
an
I can
idea
make it as
for
long
a
as I
thing I want
want.
to end
Damn it.
on, but
Yeah,
Okay, well we'll end on. Do you want to end on it now? I'm okay with ending on it now.
I'm fine with that.
what's your question?
Nah, that's fine.
Well, now I have to know.
Yeah, now you have to tell us.
Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go.
That's the suspense. Okay, fine.
Oh,
Yeah, we've built
I'm
up
gonna
to it now.
ask.
If it sucks, we gotta kick you off.
I'm
yeah.
gonna ask. No, this question's a banger. It's from our good friend Plazor. We all know
Yeah.
him. We all love him.
Oh God.
And his question is, can you say something positive about Twitter?
I like all the art that I see of Yoriko.
I think
That's something positive.
I think
Lid has passed
sometimes
the
Twitter
challenge.
has a weird sort of inversing effect where because a fandom is really bad, it can turn people off, but it also can you know get you interested in a thing in the first place, right? Like
That's true.
I think Genshin really benefits from things like Twitter and other social media. Like this is more a social media thing than it is Twitter. It's just that Twitter has like issues that most social media sites don't have by the nature of its popularity, right?
Yeah.
So
That counts as a
basically,
nice
Plaz,
thing.
no, I can't. I have to hide an insult in there every time I fucking talk about it.
Yeah, that was a pretty backhanded compliment, but I'd say that counts.
I guess I would say one positive thing, and I don't know how you know how true this might be, but I feel I feel like Twitter has done a good job of advancing the idea of citizen journalism. Because only like what 20 years ago, before Twitter was invented, you know, news was much slower. Obviously, you had the internet, but not everyone was using the internet back then. But with the advent of Twitter,
Yeah, I mean, like,
everyone's got
there was a
the
very
ability.
you could have local journalists, but they would almost
Yeah,
exclusively work within a town or a city.
Right.
but yeah, no, definitely you have like, especially starting in the early 2010s, you have news stories that break first on Twitter before any major news source picks it up. So you definitely have this. Obviously, it's also become a massive source of misinformation and bots and manipulation and whatnot. So there's those issues, but I also think, in its purest form, it can allow a citizen population to have more power than it would have had without it.
Yeah, that's well said. Because like I know like specifically when I downloaded Twitter for that exact reason. I'm like, I feel like I'm missing out on news and
Yeah.
every time someone sends me something, it's a Twitter link. So I'm like, I have a Twitter, I might as well use it. Like,
There is something about the sentiment that's making me uncomfortable, but I'm not sure what it is.
I mean, I
is
can
the fact that
understand
we're talking about Twitter.
more
That's
about
why you hate
Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah.
No, it's this idea of like journalism. Like civilian journalism is important, but I think what Twitter often does is less journalism and more hot
Fake,
takes, right?
lots of fake
Yeah.
news too. To be
Yeah.
fair,
It's not even that it's like fake news. It's that you see a lot of very skewed perspectives, and people are often not willing to take advantage of the platform they're on to like branch out of their perspective, if that makes
oh
sense.
yeah, for sure.
Which
Yeah.
For sure.
I'll say is a hard thing to do, and certainly it's never fun to be like, this is what I believe in. I'm gonna go look up 20 articles about why I'm wrong. It's like no one's gonna fucking do that, right? But
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
there is a feeling for me that this tendency for there's a tendency for smaller news and journalists to just sort of start shit, I guess.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hey, wait a
Just
minute.
like
This isn't nice about Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give something
What the
nice
yeah,
to
I
fuck?
stopped that very quickly. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So we
Let's
have
get
a
away
nice
from
comment.
Twitter.
We have a nice. Hang
We
on, hang on. We have a nice comment, and we have two backhanded compliments.
Let's
My
get
nice
away from
comment.
Twitter. One
Wait,
thing
wait,
that
wait.
I wanted
We have to give another nice comment,
Yeah,
Dias.
Dias, I
uh
have to give my nice comment. And
oh
my
okay.
is
nice comment is that I can sometimes get my tweets liked by celebrities, which makes me feel really warm and fuzzy inside.
what celebrities are liking your
Yay.
tweets?
Um, I get liked by Triple Q a lot. Uh,
I mean,
I got a signature from Yoshiko's dub voice actor, and I got a like and a retweet on that, which was pretty cool.
okay,
That's about it.
Ooh.
come back to me with like, I don't know, John Cena is liking your tweets, then we'll talk.
No, I don't tweet that many bangers. Trust me.
Oh, you're not tweeting in Mandarin about how much you love their ice cream?
Yeah, right. It's very good though.
It,
To be fair.
that's from what I heard, yeah.
One thing I wanted to touch on, and this kind of goes back to Somali, but it goes to, I mean, I've talked about a lot of different shows. For me personally, when I'm watching a show, I often like am most engaged by the aspects of it with writing, right?
Hmm.
And I was
Wait a minute.
curious.
Hang on, hang on. Is this another question?
It's a tangent of sorts.
Oh boy.
We have a time for a tangent?
Do we have time for
No, that's why I'm
tangents?
saying we want to end on it.
Okay,
Yeah, fuck
fair
it.
enough.
Go for it. Yeah, go
Go
for
I
it.
for it,
was
yeah.
curious when you guys are watching a show, how much attention do you pay to overall plot and the writing of a show?
I guess I would say when it demands it or when it's like clear on it. So like if I'm watching a slice of
I
life
should be
show.
more explicit. How much are you looking at it from the perspective of I'm a writer and like this is like critically analyzing
Mm,
a show's piece of writing?
oh, in that sense, unfortunately, all the time, just being someone who's interested in that kind of stuff, I'm always just thinking about it on the level like, what is this really saying? And I'm just like, no, shut up, brain. I just want to watch my comfy girls in a rural landscape. Leave me alone.
Oh,
So
surprising,
you're
actually.
not a fan of like, or you are a fan rather. It sounded like you said two conflicting things there. You're saying
No, I
you.
mean, I guess no. I enjoy slice of life shows. I definitely enjoy
Do
like stuff
you
that's like
so there's sort of two lines of thought, right? There's I'm analyzing the show and I'm trying to understand its themes and stuff. And then
yeah,
there's I'm turning off my brain because I just want to enjoy
yeah,
something.
yes, yeah. That's it, like sometimes I just want to enjoy something, and then my brain is like, but what does this say about, or might this say about like,
Society.
yeah, or the political implications of Japan's declining morality, and I'm like, no, I just want to watch cute things. Leave me
Yeah,
alone, brain.
he's saying he's over analytical, Dias.
Mm.
Yeah, or if not over analytical, just like sometimes I just want to be like, no, I don't want to analyze this right now in the moment. I want to think about it later. Now, like as I'm watching it, you know.
I feel like rum and coke helps with that a lot.
I don't drink. um, but I mean,
Well, what
obviously,
about you, Supreme? Do you spend
Um,
a lot of time when you're watching, Avatar: The Last Airbender? You're like, oh man, it's so cool how they did this and that, and oh man, this is contributing to the themes of such and
I
such.
want to believe that I'm like over analytical of stuff, but in reality, I can enjoy a lot of really dumb media. So
Well, I mean, you
I've
can
watched
analyze dumb
Irumanga
media.
Sensei
I
to
would
the
argue
end.
there's like more to learn from dumb media than good media. No.
No, yeah, totally. And like I definitely recognize when something isn't exactly like peak of writing.
mhm.
Especially when it comes to like movies and stuff. Like I can watch a movie and within 10 minutes I'm like, this movie was shot on a $100,000 budget by three dudes in high school or whatever. But like with like anime specifically, like it really kind of varies because I did not like Steins Gate at all, for example.
Mhm.
Because that show requires you to think a ton. And but I like watched Irumanga Sensei all the way to the end, and I didn't hate it, even though I knew it was garbage. So like, it's
that
kind of a 50
that's
50.
that's impressive.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I get what you're saying. Is that like sometimes a show may require a lot of thought, but like doesn't deserve it. But you have something that like is interesting, even if it's trash. Like a good example for me is Yosuke no Sora, which is an adaptation of an eroge that actually has explicit sex scenes within it, and I'm very much so like this is kind of mid tier, somewhat mediocre, but at the same time I'm like there's a lot of interesting stuff that's going on with the ways that it thinks about sort of like the body and relationships and like how different events can sort of change people's interactions with one another and like the
You're
way that
finding the best part of this show, and you're
hell
saying
yeah.
this is something interesting, worth
Johnny,
yeah.
exploring.
I feel like you could convince me to watch all of High School DxD with that type of
Uh,
reasoning.
there's an Opie Dragon
I don't
song.
know about that one.
I hear it's good though. I hear it's good.
I
I
don't
got
care
four
if it's
episodes into
good.
that
There's
show.
some things where like you gotta have principles here.
I got
Yeah,
4 episodes into that show, and I couldn't do it, man.
I couldn't.
I just
Hey,
couldn't
you
do
know
it.
what? That's hey, good for you, man. You despite your best intuition, you gave it a try
Yeah,
and you found
Yeah.
what you
and that's
enjoy and what you don't
and that's
enjoy,
an
right?
example, right? Like I watched it, I'm like, it's kind of funny, but it was too brain numbing for me. But like for
Mm,
with something with Love Live, right? Like I
Hmm.
know the writing isn't spectacular. It never has been.
Oh, hard
But
disagree. I think Love Live's writing is really good, actually.
okay, but like
Not a meme. Not a meme.
no, I'm not saying it's bad. Like I agree and I like it a lot, especially like SIP and Sunshine. I thought they were great. Even season 2, I think is like fine.
Yeah.
But like for me, it's no, there's enough happening. It's kind of like there has to be enough happening on screen and in the background for me to like
mm,
keep engaged. Basically, my brain has to be engaged somewhat, no matter what I'm watching. And if it's not, or it's engaged too much, I feel like I just tune out and I can't finish it either in either direction.
Hmm. So
Like
basically,
Eurocamps,
you just want competent filmmaking above
kinda, yeah.
anything
I
else.
really like in the middle, basically. Not over
mm.
analytical, but not like Eurocamp. I love that show. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I love it too. It's so great.
But I could
Yes.
never get past episode 8 because I just
Oh.
I keep watching it and I'm just like it's too much fluff. I'm like I can't stay invested
I
longer
guess
than
I guess for me, that's the opposite thing. Is like, obviously, like I say, I can be over analytical with things, but I also, just enjoy the moment. Like, I love Eurocamp. I just love that it's like, I think maybe just also it gets in the right rhythm of just like it's so peaceful and relaxing that I just don't really think about it too much when I'm watching it. I'm just
Totally.
enjoying it.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
totally
no.
get why people like it because it is a very, very like cute and beautiful show.
hmm
But yeah, no, for me, I just like I got to episode 8. I think the first time I watched it, I got to 7, and the second time I watched it, I got to 8. And both times I was like, I'll finish this later, and then I never went back and finished it.
You're
I feel
missing
bad even.
you're missing the Pinecone Massacre.
All right, we have one person who still hasn't answered. Lid, when you're watching, how much are you thinking about a show's writing and the sort of thing that we're talking about?
First time I watch a show, absolutely not at all. You have to have a cute character for me to watch a show. If the
Amen.
characters aren't cute, I wouldn't even bother, honestly.
Oh my god, that is so
So-
true.
If
You know
it's
what?
cute,
It's good. It's
then
good to
I
know
will
what you
watch it a
like.
second if it's cute, I'll watch it a second time and then I'll analyze it. But if it doesn't
Yeah.
get me on the first one, I don't care and I won't ever go back.
There's certainly nothing wrong with only focusing on media that you enjoy. But I have to say, as a writer, I'm a little disappointed. I'm like, man, you're just not even gonna give it a chance if there's not a
I'm
cute
sorry,
girl.
Yeah.
Like, why am I gonna watch a show? It's like nothing's appealing.
Lid,
You're
I
wasting
It
my
has
time.
to have at
respect
least
that.
one cute girl, or I'm not into it.
Yeah.
He
I
has
have
to look some
1,000
way like yo.
Yeah.
There has
Again,
to be a yo.
absolutely
Yo has
nothing
to be in
wrong
it,
with it, but
or
There's
a
a-
yo equivalent.
There's a Yo
Yo
clone.
equivalent. Yeah, like short hair, sporty. I'm in it. I'll watch it.
Yeah, or alternatively, she doesn't act like yo, but she looks exactly like yo.
100%.
Yeah, like you gotta
Like-
catch me some type of way.
damn,
Yeah.
that girl's hot.
Yeah, we should just end on that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. That's good.
Thanks everyone for
Oh,
watching
man.
this episode. Is this episode 12? Is this 11? I
Watching.
don't know.
Who
Probably.
watches a podcast?
We've gotten really fucking far on the episode list now. We're gonna have to start fucking coming up with more like clickbait thumbnails and shit.
Oh, dude, yeah, we gotta like draw circles around our faces in the
Or-
video.
or just post a
Lid
Marty's
said what?
Yeah, Lid said this, not
Die-
clickbait, and it's
Die
like
is-
Dias pogging.
Dice guy canceled by Tumblr,
Fuck, it's only the
For the
second
third
time.
time this month.
and it's because you're like, I mean, Kalamari isn't that bad.
I think the slap was actually a perfect piece of written media.
Unironically true. Anyways, if you're interested in anything we want to talk about, we don't have a server or anything we go to anymore, huh?
We got links in the comments.
We got
We got links in
links.
the
You can check
doobly-doo.
out our stories and stuff if you're interested
Yeah.
in fan fiction.
Yeah, we'll chill.
We have
Totally-
we're also gonna
totally
link Johnny's
rewind-
stuff in
Yeah.
in the description. Obviously, give him a check out. Thanks for
Read it out the
thanks for
family.
listening.
Don't tell him.
It's gonna go to my head.
Hey, no, but seriously, thanks for coming on, Johnny. I thought.
Yeah, no problem. This is
Thank you.
yeah, it's been fun. I love talking to you and realize that we are all trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You realize that coming on our podcast. It's
I-
kind of a common theme.
Do I stop the recording or
I mean, we should at least say goodbye.
bye?
Bye.
You don't get a goodbye from me.
It's Blue's Clues all over again. Goddamn.